Hello, everyone. Today we are looking at Friedrich Nietzsche and his Zarathustra. Now, Friedrich Nietzsche was one of the most, debated philosophers, the one with the most beef around him. So, he was born in Prussia and he was a cultural critic. His father was a Lutheran preacher who passed away when Nietzsche was just 4 years old. Man, the tragedies just start from the scratch. I mean, the guys had a very tough life, unlike Kant. So he studies philology, which is a combination of literature and linguistics and history. These won't be in the exam, but it's good knowledge to have, just in case you want to know just a bit more about Nietzsche. He studied at the University of Leipzig. During his university years, he was heavily influenced by the writings of Arthur Schopenhauer and formed a friendship with the composer Richard Wagner. Now, Schopenhauer is basically saying the same things as Nietzsche, as far as I know, which we will get into in a bit. I mean, Nietzsche has this whole ideology of abandoning religions and cultures, and not really cultures, but moral laws that currently exist, to form our own moral laws using our own ideas, I guess. So Nietzsche published intensively during the 1870s and 1880s. He is best known for his uncompromising critiques of traditional European morality, religion, and the conventional ideas of modernity. He was very critical of the religions, especially the Christian religion, because he believed that the Christian religion essentially put people in like a sort of box so they wouldn't revolt against the people in charge. They believed that it was the ultimate cope. The religion that people were worshipping was the ultimate cope. Because the people could not cope with their own envy, they believed that it should be suppressed, and therefore they made it so that, for example, if you don't get sex, you are pure, instead of just being a virgin. So he argued that they were using religion to make themselves feel better about whatever was going wrong in their lives. He also used psychological diagnoses to expose the false consciousness infecting people's ideas. Now, Kant, we talked about Kant just a bit ago, and Kant said that when you abandon all of your emotions and your connections to the outside world and think entirely logically, you can arrive at universal laws. But Nietzsche is saying that no, you're just LARPing. You cannot differentiate yourself from your emotions. A purely rational mind that you have that operates only on rational topics and logic is not actually operating on those. You're still tied to your emotions, your needs, your wants. You cannot be someone who is inhuman. Therefore, any consciousness that tells you that you are different from any other human on there, or any consciousness that tells to you that it doesn't have any emotions or it's purely logical, is just lying to you. Therefore, it's a false consciousness created by your consciousness to make you feel better. It's a lot about just finding out people just do things to make themselves feel better. He's often grouped with modern thinkers like Marx and Freud, who advanced the hermeneutics of suspicion against traditional values. Now, tragically, Nietzsche suffered from insanity during the last decade of his life and died on the 1900s. Despite this, his writings profoundly influenced major thinkers of the 20th century. Now, he produced 4 different books. The first book, he goes into depth about the tragic feeling of life as a hallmark of modernity, expressed through music and tragedy. Now, as a child, this guy was very fond of the Greek tragedias, the Greek life of watching theaters of tragedias just being acted out was, I guess, very pleasing to him. Because the point of tragedias is that they are basically drama theaters, they are drama plays that reflect society's problems. Like, for example, a woman cheats on his husband, and then his husband comes and kills the woman or kills himself. This idea of a play could be classified as a tragedia. It's basically aimed at showing the hardships in life and what not to do. Like, the core message of that thing is, if you cheat on your husband, or I forgot who actually cheated, but if you cheat on your partner, you're either going to get killed or you will kill yourself. To instruct the community, to instruct the people living in Greece to act morally, basically. And Ecce Homo was his second work. It's an autobiography that explains his own life, and it was written just weeks before his collapse into madness. And Thus Spoke Zarathustra is his most important work, because it speaks of the ancient Persian prophet Zarathustra, who descends from his mountain solitude to declare that God is dead, and that the Superman, or the Übermensch, is his true successor. The core argument being that the meaning of existence is found in a passionate, chaotic, and free life force rather than in religious piety. Now, this just summarizes everything about the concept of Übermensch. Basically, reject all of the traditional values that you have, like tradition, religion, and what people tell you to do, and then construct your own values. That's what he's preaching. And on the genealogy of morality, it goes into the systematic work and it confronts the Western value system. It argues that religion and traditional ethics weaken human existence and capture man's freedom. And it tells you to reject the slave morality to support the Übermensch. Now, the slave morality being talked about here is the morality that you must be someone's slave. You must work for someone else. You must be under someone else's command. And it tells you to reject this and become your own person. No respect for the community. Nobody else can tell you what to do, and you are the sole person that can decide on what is good and what is bad. Now, central to Nietzsche's philosophy is the declaration that God is dead, and a total rejection of Christianity as a guiding force in contemporary life. Now, without a guiding force in people's lives, what would happen is absolute chaos. So, he proposes the idea of an Übermensch. What is the Übermensch? It's a mythological figure that overcomes all obstacles to achieve goals and triumphs through willpower. Wow, amazing. That's the Superman, It's exactly the same premise as Superman. Maybe just a bit less OP, but as OP as it gets. And it also tells you that this individual transcends traditional Christian morals and human categories of good and evil, or master and slave, because of moral relativism. It posits that morality is relative to the environment around you, or it's relative to who is telling you to be moral. It's quite relative to relatively everything. So, The Superman recognizes that morality only exists relative to human beings, allowing him to create his own values through his own actions. And he embraces this relativism. And then there is also the topic of amor fati, which amor means love, and fati, I would believe, means fate. So amor fati is love fate. It says, as a person, as an Übermensch, you embrace everything life brings by possessing a will strong enough to embrace them. This includes the pain, this includes the sorrow, this includes the suffering that you will have to face. If you embrace all of these with open arms, then nothing can hurt you in this life. And the dude that's saying this is not just writing these sitting on his fancy desk. This guy has been going around boarding schools, basically living like a homeless guy. I mean, Nietzsche never had one of those famous rich lives. He's not just sitting on his ass writing these. He was a poor, miserable person. So this is his way of coping with it. He says that if you embrace everything that life throws at you, then you will never be hurt. And if you start to love them, then you will be achieving self-perfection. And there have been many misinterpretations of the Superman, as if it were a cruel, tyrannical dictator who steps on others for power. However, Nietzsche doesn't say that. He says that the Übermensch is an individual who transcends pure rationality and ethics to replace standard humanity, serving as a savior for a modern world full of ills. So he is basically trying to replace religion with something else, an idea that can be comprehended by the mass. And then, to show the journey of an Übermensch, how does the spirit become an Übermensch, he creates this sort of story. At first, you start as the camel, which is the load-bearing spirit. The spirit desires to take on as many heavy burdens as possible. Yeah, you're gonna be working overtime. Sure, boss, I will do. Yeah, you're gonna have to drive me to the airport and back. Sure, boss, I will do. You're gonna have to start selling trucks now. Sure, boss, I will do. The spirit, me, I kneel down like a camel. I willingly accept the heavy rules and the values of society, because society is telling me that I should be obedient to my boss. He's my master and I have slaves, for example. So the thou shalt represents the society. So you shall not do this. You cannot. You must not do this is the society. Once laden with these heavy burdens, the camel hastens out into the wilderness, which represents the world. In this wilderness, the second metamorphosis occurs as the spirit transforms into a lion. I'm going to become a Sigma, and I'm going to become the ruler of my own kingdom. Now, I was really making fun of Nietzsche to be one of those, Sigma red pill guys, but to be honest, this lion spirit that is embodied in his metamorph analogy could really align with the Sigma values that we see today. The lion seeks to become the ruler of its own kingdom, but to do so, it must fight its ultimate master, a great dragon called Thou Shalt. The dragon says, "You must not create new values. You must be obedient to me." And then the spirit says, "No, I will. Fuck you." And then he refuses to carry the burdens anymore, and he fights the dragon to get his freedom. But you can see what happens. He's just challenging him. He's battling him. But then the dragon is slain. The lion is there. He looks down. He looks up. He don't know what to do. He doesn't have any idea on how to live without his rules that he just so willfully rejected. He battled for his freedom, but he does not have any idea on what to do without it. I mean, without his master, what does a slave do? Without a boss, what does the employee do? It's interesting. So he says, okay, this is out of my hands. So a final transformation occurs, which is into a child. This child represents innocence. It represents forgetfulness. It represents a game, a new beginning. Because the child can look at the world anew. Because as a child, you don't know anything. So the world is as you dream it to be. You don't have any pre-given you don't have any predetermined values or moralities that have been ingrained into your brain since your birth. You're not like the lion. You didn't come out of this life. You have just respawned as a new person, as a child. So, the child just forgets the restrictive thou shalt of the past. So, forgets everything about the previous life. It doesn't know about the values. It doesn't know about the moralities. It doesn't know about anything that the past life has brought him. So, it alone possesses the curiosity and the ability to create its own will, its own world, and its own fresh values. So in conclusion, it is only the child, not the camel, not the lion. It's only the child who becomes the Superman or the Overman or the Übermensch that creates new values and changes the world for the better. So in short, Nietzsche is not really that much of a, asshole, but he's trying to find a way to make the world a better place. Yeah,